So today was supposed to be a video about the difference between twang and nasality, but my voice is not really available today. If I were to try to make a twangy sound, it would maybe sound something like, hey! So I don't know if you want to hear that for many minutes. Got a little chest cold and touch of laryngitis going on that I've been fighting for about a week. So if I try to demonstrate too much, it's not going to be useful for anybody. So I thought instead I would show you something that I actually do on days like this. So what to do when you literally can't sing and how you can still move your voice and your artistry forward even when the instrument itself is not going to work for you and needs a break and needs some rest. So very quickly, what's actually happening when your voice sounds like this? Your vocal folds have these layers. The outer layer, the epithelium, is this lovely layer that vibrates a lot on its own, and it can become swollen when you're sick. So in mode 2 head voice, it's primarily like the epithelium vibrating, and then you have the body of the folds. This is like a cross-section of the folds that I'm demonstrating here. The thyroarytenoid, the vocalis muscle, the body of the fold, and the epithelium sort of sits on top and vibrates independently. So when you're healthy, I had a teacher demonstrate to me, when you're healthy, that epithelium is kind of like the top skin of your hand. And then when you're sick and it gets swollen, it's more like that. So you lose that sort of like vibratory specificity and articulation in the folds. And so that's why it gets swollen. It just gets beefier and juicier and, a little more unwieldy. So it's just any body that's becoming more swollen and then vibrating. That's what's going on. The swelling has increased the mass of the folds. So instead of vibrating efficiently and with a lot of nuance, they become heavier, slower, a lot less precise. So that's what's going on when you're recovering from something and you can't quite get that access, even when the voice is coming back. A lot of times swelling can take up a while to go down, that inflammation. So if things are feeling unpredictable and effortful, it's not a technique issue as much as it is just a physiology issue. So then also the question becomes, should you sing at all on certain days? So here's a really simple framework to think about it. So if sound comes out relatively easy, if there's no discomfort, no pain, and if there's no urge or very little urge to push, you can usually explore very gently. But if you're noticing effort that you can't mitigate, or that you feel like the voice needs some extra something to make it happen, instability, and especially anything that feels like discomfort, something you don't want to continue over and over, that is not a physical training moment. That is a recovery moment. So it's important there's some days where you feel like, I'm not 100%, but I need to sing for X, or I'm expected to do this. And you have to kind of weigh it. I've had moments where I felt like I needed to do an audition, or I had a performance that I had booked. I was like, well, how am I going to navigate this? Use what vocal capacity I had that day, and then plan to rest later. You always have to make a plan to see, how can I rest and recover? So what can we do instead? So because this doesn't have to be lost time, and hold on just a second, even I'll just say like lost time. I'm learning this lesson. I mean, look, I'm still shooting a YouTube video while I'm under the weather. So I am learning, and I invite you to learn with me, that rest is precious time. Resting is precious time. And giving ourselves the ability to slow down, to eliminate hurry, helps us to embrace trust. And I'll always say to students, go slow to go fast. But I'm really good at doling out that advice, and I'm really good at dismissing it for myself. So just being open about that. But if you feel like, okay, I'm gonna lie down in this bed, but I can't sleep right now, what are some things that I can map in, some things I can think about that are gonna help me as an artist, that are gonna help me as a singer? I'll offer those to you. Better than scrolling or filling your brain with other dopamine drippers. So, but this also points to some of the most important work that we do as singers requires no sound at all. In fact, when I prepare recitals, I don't have a lot of time. I don't have these like hour-and-a-half chunks to go into the studio and really dig in. I have my walk from the train to school. I have my ride from the train station to home. I have the little in-between times. So I'll use these little snippets of time to go over lyrics, to map songs, to practice what a breath is going to feel like, to practice what a support is going to feel like, to layer in specificity of meaning of lyric, to bring images and things inside so that things are being communicated from the inside out as an authentic expression from me. So a lot of my practice is silent, is mental, is mapping into the nervous system, which is terrific news because that means you can practice anywhere. And so, so what I'm talking about here is obviously mental practice, and it's a super underrated tool. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between vividly imagined action and physically executed action. I'm thinking about if I'm driving and I hit a big pothole, my whole body will recoil because it's like my brain has identified my body as being part of the car. And so sometimes I will empathetically recoil if I hit a bad pothole here in New England. So I think that's the brain's identification of things into the nervous system. We can use that way that our brain works and that our nervous system works in order to help map in procedural memory and map learning into the unconscious. So you can actually rehearse coordination, phrasing, intention, your imaginative world without making one sound. So I can hear a phrase internally. I can feel my breath in my body. What kind of breath will I need for that phrase? What kind of support does that phrase ask for? I can imagine the resonance and shaping and articulation of certain words and phrases coming through. And that is very powerful in building coordination. I think you do have to have a baseline of technical understanding in order to do that, so that you can trust that what you're mapping in will lead to good results. But you'd be surprised at what this kind of mental practice will do for you. It's very, very powerful. It's a wonderful thing to discover. The second thing that I find really powerful that doesn't require any sound making is lyric mapping. So I'll show you what I mean by this. This is something I do all the time when I can sing. And when I can't sing, when I'm limited from it, just like, oh, I can really work on this. And these tools I got in college in my musical theater performance class with Kathy McNeela. And I'm just going to take you through it. It's a very simple, layered work that anybody can do. And you can do it. You don't have to necessarily do it in the order I'm going to tell you, but this is a really great way to work. So let's use a lyric as an example. I'll show you how this works. So let's take a phrase from She Used to Be Mine from the musical Waitress. Let's just take, she is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. So that's going into the hook of the song. So in the musical, Jenna is reflecting on herself, singing about this person she once knew in third person, or she's reconnecting with this version of herself that she's bringing together. So first, let's just take the literal meaning of the lyric. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. So already you're seeing some mixed up contradictions. And later it says she is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. Yeah, because that's the whole image of Waitress is baking pies. So then if I go to specifics on this, who is this? And then when I say messy, she is messy. What comes up for you when you see those images come up? What images arrive for you? What does messy look like? What does it feel like? Does an environment come up? Do certain images, certain sensations? And then is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it both? And then what about kind? She's messy, but she's kind. How does kindness show up? So any of these words are literally just these phonemic symbols for meaning. And that's what we have to remember when we're singing a lyric. Anytime anybody communicates anything is coming from this place of inner, confusing, rich depth that we're turning into language to try to communicate ourselves. So if I know that, messy, kind, lonely. Okay, what does lonely most of the time feel like? And then you can take it in the world of the character or any character that arrives to you. Lonely most of the time. what does that feel like? What does that look like? And then just little questions of like that, where is she when that shows up? What time of day is it? Those sorts of questions just add specificity. So already we've just talked about this for like 90 seconds. And then just noticing if I'm singing that lyric, she is messy, but she's kind. She's lonely most of the time. Now that's hard. Right now I want to sing the phrase, but it would not. It would. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely. Yeah, so it's not going to be helpful right now. That's hard because you want to take it into singing after that. But already, you're filling up a bag of specific imagery, and it's there for you. And then every time you sing the song, it can change and shift. And then after this, you can let images start to layer in. Not abstract, like really specific images. And what I like to do with this too, I call it, like, if this is my subconscious, I just like to open up. It's like a big trap door down into a treasure trove. And I'm gonna open up this door, and I'm gonna allow the subconscious just to smack me with whatever it wants. So what comes in? She is messy, but she's kind. She's lonely most of the time. Yeah. So, and then I will tell you, up from my treasure chest came about 2 thoughts that I didn't want to think about. I was like, oh, that's painful. You know what? That's the work of the artist. I'm going to allow myself to see something that I would probably rather keep tucked away. But that invites you into processing something that might be important to you. That's the wonderful thing. You can't see what my treasure trove has, but you know if you're invited in or not. That's the key. And so that's the courageous act of the artist. And you just let those images come on up. It's like, all right, well, there they are. And then they'll pass through. It might, another one might come up that you don't particularly want to see. That's being human. It's being blindsided by your subconscious all the time. Then I'm going to think about phrasing. So even without singing, I can think, where does the line want to expand? Where does the line want to release? What's going on with the rhythmic structure? What's going on with the melodic structure? Yeah. So even with that, she is messy. It's a 6/8 feel, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. So where did Cerebrellus put in pauses and moments for thought, moments for light bulbs to come into that phrasing? 2 lines, just playing around with that, and it becomes a really fertile garden for your artistry. So I'm already shaping the musical experience without using my voice. So if I were to sing the song, then I have a rich world that I can invite you into. Let's also use an example from Art Song. One of my grad students is singing Love's Philosophy, set by Roger Quilter, which is a Shelley poem. And so the opening lines are, the fountains mingle with the river and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine. And the song actually says, in one another's being mingle. Why not I with thine, not I with thine? But let's just take, and so really, it's a lover saying all nature is connected, so we're part of nature, so we should be connected as well. It's a smart pitch. It's a wise, romantic pitch for love. So the fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. So again, literally first, things in nature are joining. You see the springs create rivers, and the rivers join the ocean, mingling and connected. And then you have the imagery. And Quilter uses, look up the song, it's so gorgeous. And Quilter uses this beautiful, quickly arpeggiating. It is like the images of the springs are coming up. It's really beautiful. So you see water flowing, streams merging with the ocean, movement without resistance. So the text is all about joining and flowing and coming together. So everything is naturally connecting. So what does that feel like in the body? And what's tricky too here is like, what is the piano doing with its quick arpeggiation, and then what is the vocal line doing? So the vocal line is a little slower and more legato. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean is how the line feels. So that you can already start to ask yourself, what part is the orchestration or the piano playing in this? What part am I playing in it? A lot of times we hear the whole song and we assign ourselves the task of accomplishing the whole song. Really important to think, what part do I play in this whole collaboration? So you're already building imagery, sensation, phrasing, and intention, all without singing a single note. I'm going to leave it there because you can hear I'm getting pretty vocally wiped from this, and I'm going to go rest. But this is all still voice work. You are working on artistry, coordination, intention, mapping the systems together that you do through your nervous system. Firing your nervous system through energy is huge. And again, I think the most important thing that we build in this is the invitation inward. I am building a rich internal life that's connected to the text I'm going to sing. Therefore, I have a rich world into which I can invite you. And that's the reason why we sing, is that heart-to-heart connection. The other piece I want to say as well, as singers, don't ever underestimate how emotionally tricky it is to not have access to your singing voice. It's a mode of primary expression for us. And even identity, as much as I say, oh no, it does very much merge in with who we believe ourselves to be. So when you don't have access to singing to the full voice, it can feel very sad and frustrating. So have a lot of grace for that as well. This week has been emotionally tough in some ways, and then not being able to sing or express or even go into work right now and collaborate on singing is emotionally hard. So give yourself a break on that too, and understand that's very common, very normal. And then have faith. I'm going to take care of myself, and it will be back. And then when it's back, I'll have some great appreciation for the ability to sing. But this shows you that this time can really be fertile, unless you just need to close your eyes and sleep and sleep and sleep. Do that. And, who knows what your subconscious might do while you sleep as well. So if you're sick, if your voice isn't available for whatever reason, this is not it doesn't have to be lost time, or what we would call lost time. And again, remember, rest is precious time. Rest is precious time. I'm saying that for me as well as you. And this is a different kind of practice. And honestly, I feel like this kind of work is a deeper practice that we develop as we deepen our artistry. That's been my experience, because you're not relying on... You're really taking a moment to slow down and build something from the inside out. The systems of your voice, how they work together, as well as the psychological, spiritual, image, internal world of a song. And if you want a clear visual on how these systems connect, breath, phonation, vocal tract shaping, articulation, into artistry, you can download the free voice map below. And if you want the full step-by-step training, the voice map course walks you through all this in a really structured, clear way that you can carry with you for years. So check that out. That's in the description. All right, that's it for today. I thank you for being here with me. Hopefully next week I'll be making some easier sounds and we can talk about twang and nasality. Take care of your instrument. Take care of you. Give it time to recover. And remember, most of all, there is only one you. Somebody would love to hear the story. Only you can sing. Love much. Now, go sing if you can when you're feeling better. I'll see you next time. Thanks.